It's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Welcome to tonight's show. Thanks for joining. Looking forward to a great episode tonight. I'm going to be talking about a few different topics. Um, Waiting on some of the folks to join right now. So in the meantime, I'm going to go through our little promos. Um, Primarily want to make sure you guys remember to check out our merchandise site, gftradio.creator-spring.com. Got tons of merchandise, long sleeve shirts, short sleeves, hoodies, all kinds of things that you can buy with our logos, our sayings. I got the What Up Dope People shirt on tonight. Make sure you get over at our website at gftradioshow.com, GFT_radio, or GFT Radio on Twitch and GFT Radio Network on Facebook. The Join the Conversation group over at Facebook is also available, where you can interact with us and catch some great conversations, memes, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you get over there and check that out. Listen free on demand, 24/7 on all the podcast platforms such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, or watch video replays on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So make sure you do that, and you get to see more of our content, because we definitely have plenty of content to go around, and plenty of different shows. So you know where to come for the content. Mondays at 10 for the GFT Radio Show, Tuesdays at 2 for the How to Hustle podcast with Hank, Wednesdays at 9 for the Styles and Chevy recap, as well as the Sex with Sunny live show every or 2 Fridays out of the month at 6 p.m. Or make sure you check out the Fans Perspective for sports, debates, highlights, all that kind of stuff every other Sunday at 9 p.m. So tonight we're going to be doing a trending topics show. One of the bigger topics, as you guys are probably fully aware, is about the Tyre Nichols situation in Memphis. We're going to be talking about that. What up, Dame?
Hola.
What's good with you, bro?
Same old, same old. Another day, another dollar. Which one?
For sure. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. We got a couple other topics we're going to drop in as well. And make sure you guys stick around, like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know how we do. Make sure you don't forget to do that. We definitely need your support and appreciate it as well. So like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell over at Facebook and on YouTube, so you can hear, or you can find out all the live shows as they come on, and get a notification so that you can jump in and check us out. All right, make sure y'all do that. So tonight we're going to be talking about, again, we're going to be talking about some trending topics. One of the bigger topics tonight is the Tyre Nichols situation. Dame, did you get a chance to check that out?
In some part, I didn't go into great detail like I usually do on a lot of stuff. I kind of checked out of social media for a moment, going through some things here with the family, trying to get things on right with them first. But I did check it out. It's the what's the word? Disheartening to see this still happening, even after the last couple of years, even starting with George Floyd, and the countless numbers of African American and people of color being murdered by the police. They made other provisions to try to safeguard the citizens from police brutality and cruelty to citizens. They might have been wrong or been some type of criminal or have some type of checkered past, but they still don't deserve death.
Right.
And they got body armor footage from other places you see, and it continues to happen. So until they make this a what's the word I'm going to use? it seemed like they get away scot free. Not scot free all the time, but
Right.
more so they get away with some type of slap on the wrist when and if it was just a civilian murdering another civilian or another cop or somebody, no, they throw them under the jail. But it seemed like police officers, you're no longer on the force, quote unquote, but then you find them doing the same type of work somewhere else in some other city, finding some other job.
Good
So
point.
until they find
Good
some
point.
type of way of actually punishing these people, they are not. I think that's why they get this complex of being over the law, being the law and over
Mm-hmm.
it, not being accountable.
Right.
And it's just very disheartening. Just and to see that it was 5 black officers on top of that. That's like a kicking the gut to our community. It's like you see this happening from
Right.
Caucasian cops doing this already, but then you're not helping the cause. It's just something else to add to the fuel of, well, now all cops are bad and racist. Yeah, now you're just plain criminals.
Yeah.
So good.
So I mean, from a standpoint of, like you said, all of the thing. What up, Bill Hype? From a standpoint of all the things that have been going on in the last few years, what's your take or what's your thought on why it continues to happen, regardless of body cam footage, some, a couple of situations where cops were punished for this, as well as just the whole idea that this is something that continues to be prevalent and proliferate throughout a lot of communities. What do you think is kind of one of those factors, or some of the factors that are continuing to make this a thing that continues to happen?
Yes, with me or Hank.
Oh, either one, but yeah, I was asking you, but
Oh,
either one, don't matter.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
oh,
I
I'm
thought you
sorry.
was throwing at the game.
Oh, my bad. No, being above, like I said, being above the law, just because they put that uniform on, they feel like they're better than you because they
Mm-hmm.
have some type of right and privilege in special circumstances just because they go out and risk their lives. I'm not going to take away from the horrible job they have. It's not horrible. It is an honor and privilege to serve and protect your community, a community, but that doesn't make you above your community that you're serving.
Right, right. Hype. I'm sure you've heard about this situation down in Memphis. What's your take on the things that are going on with this case?
So I watched the video yesterday. I was just really too busy to watch it. Friday when I had turned it on, they give you bits and pieces and all of that. Uh, they just like they held my man up and just teed off on him, and for no reason at all. Like, what was the reason in any of this? Like, when the first joint comes on with the body cam, it's already like them tussling with him on the ground. If it's 5 of y'all and it's just him, I mean, we got pictures of him up right here. He ain't too big.
Right,
Like,
right.
they saying all in the, because I watched the whole thing where they like, oh yeah, he's strong, man. He's strong as hell, boy. He was high as hell. No, 2 of them maced each other, or when they tried to get him down, they caught each other and not him.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Mm-hmm.
they had to chase him and all of that. Because even then, when you hear even like on the walkie, they talking to 2 other cops is talking about we caught him over here on such and such. And it's like, nah, that ain't even the right dude. If half the police force is over here, why is it this many cops on the scene for nothing to have occurred in this situation? Like Dame was saying, it's pretty much just like an abuse of power type of thing. It's like we doing this because we can do it, and we know that we got the back end to get out of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 times out of 10, they get out of them.
Right,
I
right.
hate to put it like this. If that was 5 white cops, I don't think they'd have been fired right now. I think they'd have been out on leave, and they'd have been playing the union game with you.
No doubt,
But
no doubt. Um,
But like that
I guess
video, like I'm not
my
even that.
question
I ain't even that type of
is how long
person.
did it?
Go ahead, my bad.
Right. No, I was about to say, my takeaway or question from this was like, how long did it take them to figure out that this situation was problematic, and that these cops needed to be reprimanded and eventually, fired or charged in this case. I know this was a quote unquote quick situation, but still, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of it was January 7th when the incident occurred. He passed on the 10th, and I was just hearing about this in the last week, a few days ago. So it's like, why, it brings me to the question of why does it take so long for them to have these investigations? I think this one was quicker than usual, or
This one was a rapid pace for these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice too in the video? You can tell like somebody must have said like, "Oh shit, they got the body cam video. They got the body cam footage." Because they start saying, "You see, he reached for his gun. After he reached for his gun, and man, he high. Man, he's so strong." Like you could see
Right.
like that they started trying to create a story on the fly for the situation.
Right.
Because there was no way. It's no way in hell. Like, how did we get here? What's the reasoning? Like, what did he have, a busted tail light? Did he run a stop sign? Like, what did y'all pull this man over for? And why is it that many cops when y'all did get him over? When y'all did have him pulled over?
None of that warrants death.
No, I'm not saying that it do, but like something. You gotta tell me something. Something here.
Right.
Please don't get up here and just say we plead the fifth.
And and that's the question is what all went on before the body cams came on, or what all went on before before the incident escalated, because based on the timeline there was discussion of them saying that he was being pulled over for reckless driving, but the police chief came back this on Friday and said that this wasn't this may not have been the case, that there was no proof of any reckless driving. There was no proof of any of the accusations that the cops were making towards Tyree. And it's one of those situations where we don't have any information other than what they're telling, and then finding out that was false. So it's a sad situation because a lot of this could have been prevented. There was another post that I saw that said that he was or that the cops yelled out up to 71 different commands at him, and you're talking this 5-6 cops on this scene, and you're getting all these different people yelling and screaming, and I know he was trying to say things. He basically was saying that they were doing too much, and that he was just trying to go home, and so on and so forth. But you got people yelling at you, and we've seen this in the past where cops are like yelling out 6 different commands because they're all confused. They're all trying to do the most, and to Dame's point, being on a power trip, being overly anxious about the situation, and then it comes down to their word versus his.
They screaming to my man, get down, get your hands behind your back. He's already on the ground. One of y'all got his arm. Like, what did y'all want? Like you said, Jid, too many Chiefs, no Indians in that situation. Because nobody's just has the voice that's commanding the whole situation. Like, it was just a whole bad situation, man. Like, I'm not even the type of person who be really like offended by these type of things because things happen. But like, this was like above and beyond type of situation. Because my man is like falling and passing out, and y'all just holding him up just to keep teeing off on him. For what though? Like, that's what y'all should have did to the boy in Uvalde in Texas. When he's in the clip, like we can't have like I recorded an episode where we talked about this. It'll be coming up soon. I think it was episode 99. I'm not 100% sure.
Where
How to Hustle Podcast with Hype every Tuesday, GFT Radio Network, 2 o'clock. Very expensive plugs. But the video that you see with those cops, we have an active shooter in an elementary school. We have kids calling from in the class saying that there's a man in here killing my classmates and my teachers. And we got 500 cops just standing in the hallway. We got one who, my man pumped sanitizer in his hand and just, let me get my hands right, COVID. But we ain't breaking in this room to actively get one shooter. Well, we have an unarmed man, and we got 5 cops we're going to get some target practice off on him. Like, you can hear them talking when you watch the whole thing. It's like, man, I was hitting the shit out of him. I hit him a couple good joints, and he wasn't going down. That's because 2 of y'all holding him up.
Right. Yeah, that was the one problem I saw was that, they were saying how hard it was to do this, how they felt like, he was resisting, or that he was doing things that he shouldn't have done. But, like you said, in retrospect, you're looking at this video and you're seeing that they're telling him to put his arm behind his back, but one of the cops is holding his arm and his other arm is pinned under him while they're leaning on him, or they're pushing down on him. And then there was part of the video where he says, or they're telling him to lay down. And like you said, he was already laying down. And then they're like, well, lay on your stomach. And then, they're holding him while he's trying to turn or he's trying to do something, and they're holding him literally. So it was because
even then they said like, oh, he ran. Man, at this point, you goddamn right I ran. Like, y'all all got guns, I don't.
Right.
And y'all already dragged me out the car for no reason. If I had the chance to run, you goddamn right I'd have ran too.
Indeed. And that's the thing, there's a lot of instances and situations where people will be like, oh, if only this didn't happen, or if only that didn't happen. And this is one of those situations where none of that is plausible, none of that is relevant, because everything that could have been done, quote unquote, correctly couldn't have happened, because you have all of these officers,
determined to do some
things
dumb
that
shit.
are counter to that,
Yeah, you got 5 people determined to do some dumb shit.
Yeah, for sure. And this brings up my other issue with this situation, and all these situations when you have these special units, and I think, Dane, you brought this up in the group chat, was that this was or it might have been another group chat I was in. We were talking about how this traffic stop was done by not traffic cops, but by a special crime unit, and the special crime unit is supposed to be tasked with dealing with violent crime, tasked with dealing with individuals or groups that are causing reckless mayhem in the neighborhood. And you got them doing traffic stops, and you have them going after people who especially in this situation, who are obviously not an immediate threat to the neighborhood or to others, and then they're in this highly agitated state where they're just looking, like you said, they're looking to do damage.
Yeah, like y'all riding around like 4 young dumb niggas who 4 deep in the car. So we already drawn. We're already tipping on our own situation for being 4 deep. Y'all riding around like just looking for something dumb, because that's what this looks like.
Right.
Once you snatch that man out of his car, and now we just gonna do whatever to him, y'all look like y'all was looking for trouble.
Indeed.
And if there was that, if y'all the special task force and it's this bad of a neighborhood, then why is nobody else outside? Why nobody coming out of none of these houses to see what's going on? Because when you swing the camera, they give you like the different camera that was like across the street or something.
Oh yeah,
you get
camera.
the overhead. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
When you can see, like, that's when they holding him up and all of that. If it's this bad area where all of this is going on, then how come ain't nobody else outside? How come it's not one person comes to the door or nothing? Because if it's that many cops, the cars, the lights, that will lead somebody to come into the door to say, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm. What up, Smooth? Appreciate you joining.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on with y'all?
Assalamu alaikum. What's up, bro?
And get
Alaikum
in
salam.
there, brother. Shoot down in Memphis.
So I didn't actually watch the video. I refused to watch the video.
You don't need to.
I'm not. You feel me? I'm not. But I've done my still did my due diligence. I seen the article I seen a post that Willie posted in the group chat about the relationship situation, or or like he had a relationship with one of the cops exes or something like that.
Right.
That's not that I don't know the whole backstory behind it because it got to be more. Because I still don't believe if that's your ex, it ain't worth killing nobody over. You feel me? And it definitely ain't worth killing nobody over. But to the bigger picture, I noticed a lot of people was like, yeah, these black cops, they thought they had to they was gonna be protected because they was police officers. They thought that blue wall, they thought it wasn't gonna happen to them. No, I think in some of them states down there, or where that happened from, where there's a lot of black cops on the force. You feel me? That's just how they act. You feel me? That's that badge give them. It had nothing to do with, to me, it had nothing to do with race. You know, once they put that badge on, you know, a lot of them dudes was cowards, chumps, punks growing up. So they get that power, and they just want to abuse that power. Excuse me. And in some cases, you know, it ain't even about them being cowards growing up. They just got that superiority complex, right, where you feel me? They want to be domineering towards everybody. And I think that's what a lot of these cops, what's going on with a lot of these cops, and I think that's what's going on in that situation. They seen somebody that was inferior to them, and they wanted to show their dominance. They wanted to showcase their dominance on him. You know, to me, it had nothing to do with race. You go back to the Freddie Gray case. Most of them cops was black. From the situation in Baltimore where they killed him and beat him up bad, and he died with a broken neck and all that in the back of the paddy wagon. You feel me? Most of those cops was black. So it was, the issue to me was never about. It changed a long time ago from white cops always abuse. It's cops. It's the police state we're in, and I think that has to change. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, that there isn't much more outcry as far as violence going on or rioting. You know, I'm actually surprised, to be honest.
Yeah.
I got a question for the table. Smooth said he was choosing not to watch the video. I mean, you can respect everybody's decisions, you know. How we handling this one with our kids? My whole thing with watching the video was I want to watch this because I want to know how much of this I'm gonna show my daughter. Because I need her to be. I always like when the George Floyd situation happened. That was the shutdown, so we were already stuck in the house, and I made her watch a decent portion of the stuff, not the actual video of him, but just like Smooth is talking about the riots and all of the uproar that went with it. How much of this do we expose to our kids or grandkids or what have you? Because I'm trying to debate of how much of this I want to give her. Because I'm going to give her some of it. Because I just need you to be aware of what's going on out in the world.
How old is your daughter?
Kai 10. The 2-year-old is sitting in my lap right now. Mommy's doing it overnight. So my bad if y'all can hear.
Oh no, you good.
Little monkeys jumping on the bed.
So my you know, my youngest is 16, and he just started driving regularly probably about 3-4 months ago. He has his own car. He drives, you know, to school back and forth. You know, drives to games, drives to events with his friends. You know, hang out and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so I asked him, you know, what did he think of the situation? You know, how did it make him feel? You know, does it, how was it affecting him from the standpoint of being, out there kind of on his own now, because, previously it would be, me or his mother taking him places, and now he's out there on his own. And, he was.
You got the perfect situation for me then, bro. Here you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I definitely, purposely discussed this with him because, I had talked to him and his sister about stuff like this a couple years ago after the George Floyd incident. I remember having a conversation with his older sister, during the Mike Brown situation. There's been these situations that have come up in the past. We've had these discussions, but, being able to have that discussion from a standpoint of like, okay, now you're out here, how is this affecting you? And, he was telling me how he felt, definitely shaken by the situation because, like any other person, he could see himself in that, situation. He could see himself having to deal with that and, being uneasy about having to deal with a situation that you have no control over, one that you could do all the right things and it still turns out wrong. And, I definitely had to assure him that, there's situations you're going to be in where all it is just being respectful, just being, what's the word? Like just doing what you're asked to do. And usually there's no problem because the fact that, the cops are usually in a good state. But then you're going to have those situations, after I was explaining to him, you're going to have those situations where that don't matter. And you can do all the right things and say all the right things, and the cop is still going to, go off or still going to, do things like this. But it's more often than not that, you're not going to be in danger, but you do have to be prepared because you never know what you're going to encounter. You never know because there's no good cops, there's no bad cops, there's no, there's just these people who are doing this job, and some are going to do it better than others. Some are going to do it worse than others. And, just trying to find that middle ground with it while I was explaining to him and while I was trying to, talk to him about the situation. Because, when we were kids, we were told, do what the cops say, be, respectful, blah, 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 and everything's going to be just fine. And that's not the reality. That's not real life, unfortunately. I know I've been in a situation about maybe 10 years ago. I was in the neighborhood leaving a client's place, and I stopped for a snack or something at a gas station. And when I came out, there's like cops at the pumps on either side of my car. And, one asked me a question, another one is putting me in handcuffs, and not because I'm doing anything, but just because they're immediately on 10, you know what I mean? And, I'm being respectful, being calm. They're literally yelling at me. And it's like 2 cops in front of me, there's 5 or 6 cops behind me. And all I can think is like, where is this going to go? You know what I'm saying? And I think that, being honest and upfront with your kid when they're in, their teen years is definitely the way to go. When they're young, it's a little harder to kind of explain to them that, there's bad cops out here. There's cops that mean no good. You can't sugarcoat it, but you also, in my opinion, you also can't make it like it's going to be always bad or it's always going to be.
Can't make it the boogeyman.
Yeah, exactly. Just because,
tell them the reality of the situation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again.
I think it just comes down to, excuse me, just telling them the reality of the situation of what's going on out here. Like Hank got a 10-year-old, like I got a 10-year-old. So you got to understand, they already having these conversations. You feel me? My daughter was telling me they was having a conversation, her and a couple of friends, about whether Donald Trump or Joe Biden is racist. So if 10 years old at this point are having those type of conversations, trust and believe, they already aware of what's going on with the police officers and all this nonsense. So basically, you know, like you said, like Hank explained, when we went through the George Floyd thing, we was all in the house. it was everywhere. So the kids absorbed all of that. You know what I mean? They absorbed all of that. I don't need her to see no videos of anybody getting killed, to be honest with you, in real life. You know, this, I'd rather you just go watch a movie. You know, you don't need to watch this in real life at this time. You don't need to become desensitized to it at this early of an age. And like Willie said, or traumatized. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, Willie, at the end of the day, you're gonna have your good experiences, you're gonna have your bad ones. You know, I had some fly ass cops let me go. Dead to rights, could have locked me up. DUI. Drunk. He know I'm drunk as fuck. You feel me? Let me go. Another time I'm minding my business, not doing nothing. Cop threatened to shoot me in the head, gun out and everything. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and some of my worst experiences were with Black and Latino cops.
Oh yeah, mine too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it ain't really a race thing. That's why I never get caught up on the race thing when it comes to cops. So I tell my daughter, just, if you in the right, just stay in the right. Don't do nothing to put you in the wrong. Don't be an extra. You ain't gotta talk crazy to them. You feel me? If you feel some type of way, guess what? Go to court. Take them to court. You could take them to court. You feel me? And you can win, because I've done that. I've seen my mother do that. So, just explain that to them. But I would, my advice would be, as far as the videos go, they're going to eventually get exposed to it without our consent. But if you can prevent it, like, don't show it. Don't let them see it.
See, I'm glad you went right before me then. I'm not even talking because, like, I could totally understand, excuse me, what you're saying as far as you don't want to traumatize them. Like I said, you don't want to make it the boogeyman. I just want you to be aware that something's going on. Because, like you just said, they're going to have them conversations in the classroom, and now we having it in the classroom and nobody's informed. So now y'all just not, it's going to sound crazy, but it's going to sound crazy, but it's not the way I'm going to say it. The kids are all having an ignorant conversation about it because they're all 10. You know what I'm saying? Where they just got bits and pieces that they heard you talking to your brother, your cousin, and like they got bits and pieces of the conversation, and now they're going off having a conversation with each other in the classroom, in the lunchroom. And it's all a conversation of, we got this piece and you got that piece, and we just putting it together to come up with our own thing. And I'm not, like I said, I didn't make her watch the George Floyd video. I let her watch when niggas set cop cars on fire downtown, though, because Philly was going crazy when all of that happened. And when they start raiding the markets, and like, just to give her a snapshot of it. So that when you're in that conversation, go ahead.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you think outside of the classroom, outside of the stuff they hear about the George Floyd, don't you think they see that in real life? Outside?
It depending on, and see, that's another thing too, though, because you got to think about everybody's situations be different. You go to school and this girlfriend might be, y'all all 10. We're going to use our kids for example. They all 10, but this one takes care of her little brother who's 6. So she's getting a little more seasoned than my daughter or your daughter. Or you got the one who looks up to the 16-year-old sister because that's who's raising her. So, everybody's situations be different because that one's getting exposed to something a little bit different. And like I said, they're going to have them conversations the same way you and your man had them conversations in the classroom where y'all talk about stuff and y'all ain't really know about it. And it's just like, I don't want you to be like, oh, yeah, I saw and they had him in a chokehold and then he went out. But I want you to be like, at least get you a couple of minutes of this video to have you aware of that situation. What Willie was talking about too with his son, I think that might be not even to do regular hype where I turn things into the episodes and all of that, but that would be a good episode to get with some young kids who just got out there. Because like you said, now he's driving himself to the game, to the party and all of that. And now it's like, when you see these different things, because you got an Instagram, a TikTok and all of that, so you seeing this all by yourself, how does that stuff make you feel? Because do you feel like, because when you get pulled over, is you going like, man, I gotta speed, I gotta keep going, or I can't stop because they might do this, that, or whatever? Like, how does that register with y'all?
Right. What up, though,
Yo,
Kilo? So yeah, and no, and this is my thing to Smooth's question, in terms of them seeing it in real life. You know, my kids go to a school that's predominantly black. They have what they call resource officers, and they're all, they're all regular cops, but they're like, placed in the school. And they deal with seeing the cops treating them one way or the other, right? You have, most of the situations, it's, them trying to be supportive, them trying to just make sure they're keeping the peace. But then you have situations like one of the games they went to, and I don't know if it was a fight, either had fight or argument had broke out, or something went left. And, then you have the cops jumping in there, you know, yelling at the kids, cussing the kids out, stuff like that. Also, in certain neighborhoods, I've done some volunteer work in, as well as just some of the old neighborhoods I used to live in, where they see this stuff in real life. You're talking, they don't have to wait for Instagram to show a video. They don't have to wait for an incident to happen in another city. They're seeing it in their neighborhood, on their street sometime, where cops are beating up kids, where cops are out there, doing the most, being power tripping, power hungry, and doing bad things to good citizens, or even bad things to bad citizens. But they're seeing it firsthand, and I think that's where the question is like, how do you handle that? Because now you're talking, they're seeing it for themselves, and then now they're making their own, judgments, assumptions, and things of that nature. And I know my kids have been shielded from a little bit of that. Well, I would say most of that, but they do see certain things that happen because they have the officers in their schools, or they go to a neighboring school and see even worse because they're in a neighborhood or at a school that's a little bit more violent or a little bit more problematic, and then they're seeing these things go down firsthand.
Dang.
Yeah,
muted.
my
I'm about to say
kids
you
aren't
muted.
going to watch it right now because they're still too young to really grasp what's going on. I don't want them to have to deal with this type of trauma at an early age. You know what I'm saying? When they get a little bit older, I will explain to them what's going on. But at this moment, no, it's not necessary for them to take part in this part of the world right now.
Right.
And then like even with my daughter, like I don't want her to watch the video. Hopefully, she at her mother house tonight, right? So I'm not sure if she's seen it over there, or her mother and them talk about it over there. So let's just go with best case scenario, she did. And when she come back here, she live with me, I'm gonna tell her the truth about what they killed that man, this, that, and the third. You can keep it real. Like, these cops will kill you out here. You feel me? These cops will kill. I will tell her that. Feel me? You don't have to be antagonistic towards them if you don't have to be, because they can kill you and get away with it, right?
Right.
My point for bringing up that about what we see in real life, and I'm glad Hank explained, like, different people grow up different ways, exposed to different things. Because in my neighborhood, like, we all seen the Rodney King video, right? Because this shit ain't new. You feel me? Everything just cameras everywhere now. So I didn't need to see that Rodney King video to know it was a problem.
Police brutality, yeah.
Yeah. You understand? I'm in the park playing basketball with the crew. All of us in the park. Cops come in the park right in the middle of the court, throw everybody on the paddy wagon. Consistently. This was like an everyday thing. You feel me? Somebody talk back, he getting yoked up, body slam. You know what I mean? Somebody spoke up in defense, he getting yoked up, body slam, kicked in the face. You feel me? Cops offer you out to fight. Nah, I'll put my badge down, put my gun down. We can fight. Next thing you know, they jumping. You feel me? I've seen it all. And I didn't have to watch it on TV. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in a way, Hank, we can't protect them from the world. My thing is, I just want to protect them from what I can. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if I
that's
can,
why I want to allow you to still have some innocence while you have it.
exactly.
Because
Exactly.
once that glass is broke, it's broke. And all of these different videos and things that we watch, there's a real person whose cousin that is, whose dad or uncle or neighbor that is. So that little girl or that little boy who's watching that video, who's 11 and lives on his block, like that shit is all the way real for them. And how many of those different situations, though I said everybody's situations be different, you never know how nobody be growing up and what they stuff be. Like I remember the cops chased my brother because they looking for somebody else that was on the run. He just happened to be light skinned, skinny, you got on a white t shirt, or you look just like him. Wasn't even him. Cops snatched my cousin out the back of the car. The one time I wasn't with my cousins in the car, snatched him out of the back of, you know, I used to have a joint switch. You had to get out to let the nigga out the back seat. They snatched him out the joint and whipped his ass in front of my cousin's house. Like, it's always those situations where this little one and grew up too fast and there been too much real stuff happening. This one lives in a fucking crack house. Mom's getting high in front of him every day. Like, so it's like, I don't want you to go in. I don't want you to go outside and just assume that everything's all love because it's all love here. You know what I'm saying? Because
Exactly. I get it.
said you, even like you say, in their neighborhoods where bad things is happening to good people, it's also bad things happening to bad people. But in your head, that's just your neighbor. That's not a bad guy. He's the guy who bought us all ice cream when the truck came. He's the guy who makes sure we all got across the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy that's making sure everything's cool out here. Now, he might also be doing that because this is a whole front for the whole situation, but you don't know that as a kid. But then when you hear about the cops, then three of them dragged his ass and all of that. All you hear is don't trust the cops. That makes them, like you said, black, white, or indifferent. It's not even none of us even brought up like the fact that that it's always white cops, because it's not always white cops. Just like when we had slaves, it wasn't always the white person that was the one dragging you and making you do this, that, or whatever. You had some black people that was all for it and jumping straight in with both feet. It's the same situation here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt, no
I
doubt.
just go ahead, bro.
No. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just when it comes to, because I don't know what I don't know where y'all was leading towards, like what the next question you had, but I just wanted to know how, because in my mind, bro, it's too late. Like Pandora's box is open. It's too late to go back. You feel me? In order for, and I'm talking about as far as correction with the police, because that they too ingrained. Like, when they the biggest gang in this country, you feel me? They protect their own. They have access to everything. They do not police themselves.
No.
So what recourse does the public have? Because at some point, y'all know what's going to go down. Once, all it takes is for one city to start throwing down on the police, and it's going to trickle down to the next city, and we're going to be living in them times like how you see them old RoboCop movies when they was going against the police, the game.
You would have to mention Detroit, right?
I'm just saying, it was Detroit.
Wasn't that lightweight happening in Chicago already, though?
Oh, Chirac?
Yeah, wasn't that like happening out there already?
I heard of a couple incidents, but I didn't really hear them going to war with the police. Now, I know in Seattle, during the pandemic, the people took over a police station and took over like half. Took over that district, and the governor was like, leave them alone. You feel me? During that time, and the police chief and all them was mad at the governor for because they felt like the governor was empowering them. But at some point, that's going to happen all at the same time. Because if y'all can enlighten me, educate me, please, with a solution, or
it actually
possible solution.
backfired too, because when they said they was going to let the police in that one district or borough in Seattle, the police would not come, or any type of 911 rescue could not come in that area because the police couldn't feel safe trying to answer a 911 call. They said, well, y'all gonna have to police yourselves now. Y'all gonna have to do your own whatever.
Is this the Oregon situation, like Portland that y'all talking
No,
about?
this was in Seattle, Washington.
Portland had like the riots or
Was
something
it
going
Portland?
on.
Maybe it was Portland.
Didn't Portland had something going on? Was Portland having riots or something? Because then they had something going on crazy with the cops out there too, like around that same time. I'm not 100% sure. I mean,
I had to look it up
this was
again,
a
but I
couple
feel
years
like
ago
it was
now.
Seattle because it was a district in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, and like Smooth said, that what they did is they had actually barricaded part of the area off, and it was a certain section of the city, and they were basically administering themselves. They had shut down local government and everything.
Yeah,
All
they
right,
said no
copy.
police were allowed.
I mean, that's the type of situation though. Once it go like that, and you said like Dame saying, "All right, well, we not making no calls or nothing," then whoever those community leaders are in that community who said we taking this over, you gotta step up in them situations. Then you wanted it, now you got it. Now you got to do it though. You got to do the work. Talking about you want to do it and not doing anything, not putting any actions behind it is frivolous. That's why I never been a huge like oh, we all gonna throw up a fist, we all gonna say Black Lives Matter. If you're not doing anything, putting any actions behind that, if you're not doing anything to make those Black Lives Matter, then copy. You just got on a t-shirt. You just like the hashtag.
You
And
got
I'm
the
not that
slogan.
type of person. Yeah.
Hey, that's great. You got
I'm
the
not
slogan.
yeah, copy. You know what I'm saying? You bought a t-shirt. That's what's up.
Yeah, it was Seattle. Yeah, it was they took over a whole district.
It was the East Precinct. They called it the autonomous zone.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
autonomous zone. Yeah. But
But
like
if
what?
y'all can hear Sesame Street in the background, she's up and running now.
You heard me see me in the private chat like somebody play a cartoon. But
she was sitting on my lap. That's why I ain't got the camera on.
But like what help me out, Willie? What phrase am I looking for? What organizational
I don't
mitigations?
think it is I don't think are you trying to get like what organization has all of that together?
No, like what organizational
right
changes? What organizational changes that they can make that can improve the overall relationship between the police and the public?
Oh, right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to take a lot of process changing, a lot of community, basically like community outreach. You know what I mean? So, like there are certain cities here in Michigan where they have what they call they're like community police. They have a name for them, and now of course it just escaped me. But they have these certain officers that are like community police, where they come in and they do programs in the school. They do outreach in the community. They interact with the community, and instead of doing basically kind of hands-off policing, they do hands-on policing, where they get to know members of the community. They get to know the actual people in the community, the ones that are out and about, the ones that are owners of the small businesses, the ones that are always in the streets, and they because they're in that community, they will have a better relationship and be able to know when a person like Tyree Nichols is just having a bad day, or a person like Mike Brown is the neighborhood Lucy guy, or Eric Garner is the guy that sells CDs, and they're not on their heads because of the smallest infraction. They're like, oh, we know that's what they do, or that's a good guy. He just be chilling most days, and today, whatever issues he having, we know how to talk to him because we know that person or we know of that person. So they do policing in that nature. But also there are certain communities that have enacted other process changes where instead of having these like crime units answering every call, or having these police officers that are always in that defensive or offensive mode. Rather, they have specialized divisions that are like out there to answer calls for mental health issues, that are out there to handle calls for you know nonviolent issues, that are out there to handle actual police or actual traffic
Can
stops
I ask a question
versus
real
having
quick?
crime units answering traffic stops.
Didn't they do that in Jersey? Don't y'all got a district out there that they shut down the district and reopened it, and they was like the
It's called
crime went way
Eastside High.
down.
It's
What you
called
say?
Eastside High. Mr.
Nah,
Joe
I'm talking
Clark.
about
No, no,
nah,
no,
they
no.
really had a joint out there. I don't remember which neighborhood it is because it's Jersey.
It might
But
have been Camden,
Camden was it? Okay, might have been Camden. Okay,
because I
copy.
remember Camden. What they did in Camden was in Camden just as worse as it's ever been right now. It did, so it did work. What I think they did in Camden was they got rid of the whole police department. That's what you're talking about. They got rid of the whole police department,
Yes, that's what
and
I'm talking about. My bad. She's singing. She's really loud, so keep muting myself.
yeah, so they got rid of the whole police department. Came in with like a new program, a new community policing program, and I guess it worked for a minute, but like it didn't last. It didn't last. I don't think it was uh well put together, well thought out. I don't think it really had the support of everybody, so I didn't think it had to. It was pushed to fail, so to speak. Like in Trenton, what we did something similar to where we got rid of the police chief and made sure the chief of police was like more so a civilian. So it's like a civilian oversight, but
Yeah, right.
that has had its issues. Most people feel like that person is still pro pro police more than pro public, or you know what I mean. Like she still has a bias, so that didn't work. I feel like one solution would be is more beat cops walking through the neighborhoods and getting to know the people, or
How
more people.
susceptible are the people to get them cops getting to know them though? When we got all these situations, now you start walking around asking questions. What is you asking me all these questions?
But see, my next point was going to be they should be from the neighborhoods. They should live in these neighborhoods. You feel me? And that was, and not just own property, because that's how a lot of these cops get over, or like they'll have a relative that live in the city or something like that, but they don't actually live here. At one point, the mayor didn't even live here, which was weird to me.
Oh wow,
You
that's
feel me?
weird.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like live amongst the citizens that you're supposed to protect and serve. That's your creed, right? Protect and serve the communities. Well, live in these communities. You feel me? So not only will you be more comfortable with the people will be more comfortable with you.
Right,
You
right, right.
understand? Now,
Mhm.
it's always going to be that criminal element because the lack of resources for everybody. So that's another issue that has to be addressed. But that's something else. Meantime, the police should get to know their communities, be involved. You should know who you're talking to. You feel me? Like you should be able to go into a neighborhood and know people's names, and they know your name. You feel me? They know your relative. You know their relatives. You know what I mean? You went to school together. You feel me? They son or they daughter go to school with your son or your daughter. You know, y'all at the sporting events together. Not just the cops there doing security. They rooting for the same people you rooting for. Y'all got
Right.
kids on the same team. You know, I think ingratiation more with the community would alleviate some issues. Not all, because it's bigger than just that, but I think it will alleviate some symptoms.
So I looked up this article about Camden and their police force, and what they did is they did a police reform back in 2012, and it was marked as one of the most successful reform at the time, and this was in 2021 when this was done, or when this article came out. I guess at the time when they did the reform, they had been on the FBI's top 10 list of America's most dangerous cities. As of today, they're no longer on the list at all, and the list is 60 cities long, and they're no longer even on the list. Camden also had a 95%. What was it? A 95%. Oh no, I'm sorry. I take that back. They had reduced their excessive force complaints by 95% between 2014 and 2021. They had a 95.7% solve rate for their 23 homicides in 2020, and they were becoming like a model for other cities to do similar reforms. What they basically had done was fired all of their police officers, partnered with the county, and then had their officers retrained and had to be selectively rehired once they committed to the new reform restrictions, as well as go through what they basically did was reshape the department so that they could do better, community policing, as well as partnering with the local community. So between their excessive force restrictions, they had a deadly force limitations. They were using de-escalation tactics instead of allowing things to escalate. They were definitely doing things that diffused the crisis situation they were going through. Like I said, other cities have decided to mimic that. One of the cities was definitely a couple of cities here in the city or in the state of Michigan. I know Detroit has done a little bit of that with their police force in terms of their community policing have been expanded. They had at one time required police officers to live in the city, but that was discontinued, I want to say like 15 years ago. But they still had some requirements for some of their community police officers and how they patrolled, again, mostly on foot, a lot of but that was only in certain neighborhoods, of course, versus where Camden, I guess it's primarily on foot for a lot of their local, or for their like Smooth called them, beat cops. So it's definitely something that helps when you do partner with the community and do community policing versus that reactive policing that we see in a lot of cities that have these higher complaint rates and things of that nature.
Now I stand corrected. I stand corrected because the article I'm looking at, this News 12 New Jersey, is saying Camden, like Willie stated, has seen its lowest crime in 50 years. Its crime rate has dropped to the lowest point. Now, when they did the
I seen it on the news. That's why I was like, nah, I know I heard one of them cities in Jersey did it. So copy.
Yeah, and when they said, with the report I'm looking at though, it did say when they did the top 100, Camden came in on the list at and I think this is just New Jersey. This might just be New Jersey. 14 were 1 out of every 64. This is violent crimes. Trenton ranks 57. Patterson ranks 97. This is April 2022, April 25th, 2022, and this is actually through the whole country. But like when I say Camden was bad, bro. Yeah. Like Camden was crazy.
Apparently it was one of the worst because it was, like I said, it was in the top 10. Unfortunately, right now Detroit is number 2 on that top 10 list. Memphis is number 1. It's the number one most violent and dangerous cities.
Memphis is where this happened at.
Yeah. And then some of the rankings, because I remember when I was in college, I used to look this stuff up too. I think I had to do a report on it because, Camden was number one because this is a small city. People don't understand how small Camden is. Camden might be smaller than Trenton. Camden might be smaller than Trenton. Yeah.
I drove through Trenton in like 6.5 minutes.
Yeah. Trenton only 7 square miles.
Every six blocks in Jersey is something different.
yeah, because like and if Sonny was here, she'd tell you like the outlying townships, they used to be a part of Trenton, but they annexed them. You feel me? So Trenton used to be bigger. You had Hamilton, Lawrence, and Ewing. But I think when we did it, it was like under 100,000. And lower Camden was always number one. Camden was always number one worst city. You feel me? So the fact that they done turned it around to where it's at now, I gotta get that respect. I gotta get that respect. I gotta get that respect.
Yeah. I want to jump into this last topic before we wrap it up for tonight, and because this one is a pretty good conversation I think we can have, because I had noticed it in my memories about the death of Kobe. And then I saw an article talking about, why do celebrity deaths hit us so hard? And with the second anniversary of Kobe's death, we haven't seen a ton of tributes, but, that hasn't really slowed down either over the years since that happened.
That's the second or third. That's the third. He died in 2020.
It was, was it 2020? Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
That was definitely 2020.
Okay.
The beginning of the pandemic.
I'm sorry, say again.
That was the beginning of the pandemic, like when everything started to heal.
Yeah. So I guess from the standpoint of celebrity deaths, but also why this particular death was so, I guess, impactful. Why do you think that, people are so emotional and are hit hard by these kind of deaths that occur with celebrities?
Let me take that one first. Because it's one of those things. It's like music. I was watching Kobe since '95 because high school sports show will always have Kobe Saturday morning. You knew him because his name was different. His name was Kobe. You never heard of that shit before. And his ass was getting 40s and 50s every week. They would be showing the highlights. It would be Donnie Carr and Kobe Bryant every week. And that was, like I said, 95. 95, I'm 8 when I'm watching this. Kobe plays clean through my 30s. So when you have like a celebrity or a musician or anybody like that, it's like a part of your childhood is what you kind of connect that to. So it's like a huge part of you that you can just remember. Man, we was in high school when this was happening. When he had 81, I can remember exactly where I was at. When he had the 63 on Dallas, I know where I was at. Like, it gives you all of those memories, and it kind of makes you look at your own mortality, where you kind of know any day can be my day, but until those things start to happen where it's like, damn, now I've been doing this for the 25 years, and now my bad. Love, Daddy's talking. It's one of those things that makes you look at your own mortality, because it's like a piece of your childhood, or a piece of your growing up, a piece of you is kind of gone. And that's kind of what that does. Same thing like if you think about Biggie or Tupac, where it was the same thing. You like, man, it's the same shit.
I 1000% agree. And I also add on to it. Sometimes it ain't even about, because I'm like, man, listen, that's crazy, huh? Because I was the same way. Kobe, Tim Thomas, because they was all in high school around the same time. So, that's
Terry
how I remember
Kittles, Ray Allen, John
Terry
Wallace,
Kittles, all them. Word up.
I've been sports boy.
So, you know, like Haim said, you grow up with these people, and then when you so attached to what they do, you feel me? Like you kind of attached to them. So when you know, and I wasn't a huge Kobe fan. You understand? But when he died, it did hit me like, damn. And then it was even sadder with his daughter. I'm like, oh man,
Right.
you feel me? Like,
Mhm.
like I was sad.
That
You would have
was,
thought I was a Kobe fan. Like, but I,
bro,
you
that
know,
part right there, that was the part that hurt more. Was
Right.
exactly.
knowing I
Yeah.
have a daughter and thinking about if we're on a plane and you know this shit is going down, the look that she has to be giving you of like, Dad, you supposed to protect me, and there's nothing you can do except hold her. That was the shit that
Yeah.
made me like, yo. Then them
But
other little girls, like, cause he's
for me,
taking the team, like, oh man.
I could take a person like Martin Lawrence, right?
Mhm.
So when I was younger, you know, I remember I was going. It was a point in time when, you know, it was going through a lot family wise. It was like, you know, people was dying. You know, there was just a lot going on family wise. And I remember sitting in the room, my grandma's house, right around the corner, crying, just in my room crying. But on my TV, Martin came on, and while I'm sitting there, and when I'm telling you, I'm bawling my eyes out by myself. You feel me? I'm listening. My ears can't help but listen to what's on the TV at the time. And he brought me out of that. You feel me? Like he brought me out of that. That's why I'm so like I love Martin, that the show so much, because it brought me out of that. So whenever I feel down or something, I go watch old Martin episodes because that's what did it for me. You know, and it wasn't like he had that show for so long. That was just a short period of time. But in that
Right.
short period of time in my youth, it meant so much to me. So if Martin Lawrence was the past, I'm gonna be real. That'll hurt. You know what I mean? That'll hurt me. And I don't believe in idols or none of that. But I know what he did for me in that moment.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
He helped the
I be
young boy
smooth.
that was stressed, that was hurting, and he made him laugh. You feel me? He made him see that it was light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what
Right.
you feel me? And that's what they do. That's their job. You feel me? He did his job wonderfully. So, I feel some type of way.
Yeah. Dane, what
Yeah,
about you?
Martin, damn, you hit me. You came out and reached and tapped me on the shoulder when you said Martin, man. God damn.
Right. Right.
Especially for y'all,
Kobe
he
hit
was
me.
Detroit for the whole show. I know that his shit hit y'all out there.
Word up.
Kobe hit me because I'm a few months older than Kobe. I'm like, because he was born in July, and I was born in March.
August.
August, thank you. Yeah, yeah, that's right. You got a day in August. That's right. Yeah, Kobe Day in LA.
Yeah.
8/24. Yeah. Yeah. They actually got a day, August 24th for Kobe Day. It hit me because he was the closest thing, I guess, being very competitive, playing basketball. I was very competitive. I didn't have the skill like he did. So I can relate to Kobe more than I could relate to Mike. Mike was my boy, grew up trying to, do all his moves like Mike, but Kobe was the closest one out of all of us to try to do it and do it successfully, get the closest. He was competitive. But then like Hype and Smooth said, you heard about Kobe dying, which already sucked. But to be there with your daughter and you can't do anything but just whatever happens at this point, because that's one thing I do not wish is something would happen to me, something would also happen to my daughter. I would just, there's nothing I can do about it, but I would wish
Yeah. That
just
helpless
me.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I would it just be me. Let my daughter be safe.
Yeah.
So, I think that death hurt more than anything. Then I was a big wrestling fan coming up, so when heard about Eddie Guerrero dying, that hurt a little bit because he actually entertained. It was actually entertaining to watch. you know, it's not fake, but it is. You know, it's written up for you to be entertained. The hits are real, but you know, he entertained me for a couple of years.
I cried like a baby when Ali died.
Oh yeah.
I cried like
the real
like,
people's
like
champion.
yeah. Like like I said, I do not believe in idols at all. Whether you know how we from our even from our religion, you know, that's a no. You feel me?
Exactly.
That's one thing I like no. So but he's the closest thing that if when people be comparing what people be doing, these athletes be doing,
Yeah.
like as far as social justice, like it really vexes me that they when they compare them to Ali. Know what I mean? Because ain't none of them gonna stand in that courtroom and talk to them like how he talked to them. You feel me? Sacrifice what he sacrificed. You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? No Viet Cong ain't never called me nigga. Y'all call me nigga. You feel me?
The
Like,
closest
nah.
second would be Bill Russell for social justice.
Bill Russell. That's probably
Them
the closest
dudes
thing.
from
But
that generation, yeah, it's a totally different breed.
so that's the like
'Cause they
somebody
got
like
it on a
that.
level
Why
we can
didn't
never
they get?
understand.
Yeah, and we none of us grew up with them. When you really think about it,
Exactly.
you feel me? Like most of Muhammad's main part of his career was done when we was young.
Right.
You feel me?
Yep.
We was just learning. We still learning about his history.
His last fight was 1980, wasn't it? 81, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And fought Larry Holmes, right?
See this?
Wasn't that his last fight?
This is another one too. Like the Kobe situation was so crazy because I was doing my old podcast, like we was live on the air, and I look at my man and the look on his face when he's looking at the phone. I said, like, we recording the show, we about to wrap up, and I'm like, nigga, is the kids good? You good? And he says, somebody just texted me, Kobe died. The whole room goes, nah. Everybody pulling their phones out now. Now it's just quiet because everybody's looking at their phones. And I say, because this is the night after LeBron passing, nah, he couldn't take LeBron passing him. Like that shit ain't happened. And now we turn CNN, like, and ain't nobody's reporting this shit. And then one person get it on their phone and say, yo, this shit is true. Cut the show off. We done. And we just sat there like in silence. It's like 15 of us in the room, just everybody looking at their fucking phones and complete disbelief. Like, and
let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all the real question. Here's the real question. It's not why celebrity deaths can hit us so hard. It's why people get so offended that people show emotion when celebrities die. Instead, because I hate when people be like, man, y'all don't show that much love when such and such died. You feel me? I hate that because it's like that screams of insecurity to me.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like one thing we all want to do, I don't care what nobody says. You feel me? We want to impact people's lives. We want to have a positive impact on people's lives. And a lot of these people are, whether we like it or not, celebrities made impacts on people, masses. So yeah, it's going to be more people. It's going to be more talked about than other deaths. It's not to say that if my mom died and say, name somebody, if Beyonce died on the same day, God forbid. You feel me? You think I'm gonna get upset because everybody's, you know what I mean, talking about Beyonce, and when I'm more concerned about my mom, like I can't be upset at that.
Yeah, so this is my take on that because I kind of hate seeing that too because a lot of times it comes up when those situations when there's a lot when there's a large impactful death happens, you see it a lot. You see that comment a lot, and I think what those kind of people are missing the point of is the fact that people are hurt, upset, or showing that emotion and posting these things because they know that there's others that are feeling the same thing, because they know of the impact, because they know or feel that connection that they had with that person, either through some other, like you were saying with Martin, having that connection with maybe a song or a performance or a humanitarian effort that affected them so positively. Now they're losing that person that they looked up to in that regard, or that they may have felt, that person was invincible. Like Dane was saying about Guerrera, or even with Kobe. We see these athletes, these stars, these musicians. We see them as almost an invincible character, somebody who will never go away, that they're always going to be there. And then when they're not, it's that impact of, oh my God, I can't believe they're gone. And just because we're showing that doesn't mean that it's lessening or reducing the fact or the loss of others that others may not know. But the thing is that that's the thing. Others may not know these people. Me posting about my aunt who passed away, all of my Facebook friends aren't going to repost that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be like, oh man, I can't believe Will's aunt passed away. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be more of a closed in situation, because that's my aunt. You don't know who she is. You're not going to hear about that. You're not going to see those postings. And the thing I hate about those comments is the fact that they say this to people who may post about their family members or their neighbors or whoever. You know what I'm saying? We were just talking to somebody who just talked about the fact that they feel bad about a friend of theirs, family member passing away. And it's like, a person that's going to comment on something like that, they don't know that person is honoring, a local hero, or or a person that's a hero to them because that's a family friend. It's ridiculous to think that we all are so dismissive of non-celebrity deaths just because we are acknowledging or attentive about a celebrity death. When what is her name? Cicely Tyson passed away. That was probably one of the only deaths that I really posted about when it came to celebrities. But it was the death of a person that I felt had made such an impact on Black people, the entertainment world, and so on, that I felt it was important to just show homage to that, because the fact that she had done so much, or that she had made such an impact, she had been such a big part of that scene, and outside of technology, outside of being into podcasting and blogging. I also, at one point in my life, was into the arts, into acting, and so that was something that was a person that I looked up to. Her, Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, who else? Denzel Washington. I look up to a lot of those, larger than life Black actors and actresses because of the impact that they have. And so that hurt, that hurt a little bit more. That was something that I wanted to recognize. Like you said, so it's annoying, and it definitely shows this disconnect. And this I'm better than you because I know what's more important in life, kind of attitude that they have. And it's like, no, that's not being more woke or more understanding of what's important. You obviously are disconnected from the rest of the world because you don't recognize the impact that this person must have obviously had on these other people for them to even post something or to feel bad about that.
Let me jump in real quick.
Yes, sir.
My bad. Go ahead. You was trying to make a point to what Willie was saying.
Real quick. For instance, Samore the comedian, she from Trenton, New Jersey, right? So she did a show here this weekend. She brought the Royal Comedy Tour. She brought Tony Roberts, Bruce, Chris Rock brother. I can't think of his name right there.
Tony Rock.
Yeah, Ray, Dominique, who was funny as fuck. You feel me? So like she brought them all out to the city. So, but she from Trenton, and when she got on stage, and if you go on my I think I posted it on IG, but I know I posted it on my Facebook story. You can see her repping Trenton, right? And she even said, "Yeah, Oak Street. Guess where I'm at right now." You feel me? I know her family. I live here. You feel me? So my thing is to Willie's point. If something was to happen to Samoa, right, it may affect me more than it affect either one of y'all. You know what I mean? Because that's personal to me. That's to town for me. She put on for the city. She rep my city where, and that means something to us. You feel me? That means something to us. So, like to Willie's point, I don't, that super wokeness crowd over there trying to be condescending to people who want to mourn somebody because they're a celebrity. Like, I think that shit corny.
Yeah, very corny.
Same situation if that's Beans. Like Beans grew up on my aunt block. South Philly, 21st Street. I'm from 23rd Street. A couple of blocks away. And like I said, that's the same exact block my aunt house was on. My mom's oldest sister. Give you an example. It's all about how do you view death? How do you look at that whole situation? I'm not one of those people who's scary about death. That's kind of basically about just the Islamic background where you kind of understand. You come in, you going out. It just is what it is. When my dad gets sick and die, when I get the phone call from my uncle that my dad just died, I tell my wife, and this is before we even married, I pick her up out the floor because she's younger than me and like she didn't have that grasp of the situation at that time. But my dad dies in September of '09. My man gets killed in May of 2010. He's like the first one of us that dies, like my squad. That hit me way harder than my dad. My dad got sick. It was like a week of what the hell is going on with him to kind of prepare you for that. He got shot on the corner of the block, and that was just, you know what I'm saying? I talked to him and told him, all right, yo, he said, I need to holler at you. I said, all right, we talk when I get off work. I call you when I get off the sub. I get off work at 10:50. He dies at 10:50. So, like I said, that one was like, damn, my birthday the first is the third. He stayed at my house that whole weekend. Like, so that hit me way harder than my dad did. I still got the picture of my man in my phone right now. But that's a grief thing. Nobody can tell you how to grieve or what to grieve over. The easiest thing somebody can tell you is you in a toxic relationship, you gotta get away from her. But it's easy for them to say that when they didn't invest 13 years and 2 kids into that girl. You know what I'm saying? You invested so much time, energy, and effort into whatever that situation is that, like Smooth said, I wasn't really a Kobe guy. I was since '95. But when this shit happens, you can't tell somebody how to grieve over that situation. My uncle, him and his man, his wife dies, and he just can't get over the fact that his wife dies. My uncle screams, "Man, this is his childhood friend. You gotta get over this shit. Like you've been moping around for this for about a year." His man goes home and kills himself that same night. You can't tell somebody how to grieve, how to deal with that shit that's inside of them, because everybody processes it differently. It's just all in the way that you look at it. Every death is a situation that takes something out of you. It's just how much is it taking out of you. Some joints you hear about and you go, damn, that's crazy. That was my man. We went to school together, and you move on. Some joints you hadn't seen that nigga since high school. You gonna go to the funeral and like that's crazy because it's gonna make you think about all those different. And can't nobody tell you how to do that. When somebody has that opinion, it's like, copy, that's cool. That's how you feel. I don't give a fuck. That's why I said when I asked the question to the table about how's everybody gonna handle that with their kids, there's no wrong answer there because everybody's gonna handle it the way that they handle it.
Fact.
And then the little girl is shaking the damn toy at me because I'm talking. Come here, girl.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, one of the things that the article I was reading was talking about, and it goes to Smooth's point, was a lot of times people are mourning the loss of a celebrity's contributions. You know, talking about the philanthropic contributions, the things they did in their communities, the way they rep their city, things of that nature, and that's definitely one of those situations where people are definitely hit more harder because their mourning goes a lot further than even what the celebrity part of it is. It's that impact that person had on others' lives and how they, you know, affected people positively, or the benefit that they gave to the world. That makes it a lot harder to lose a person like that. So not only, and that's not only with celebrities, that could be with regular people as well. You know, another thing they mentioned to everyone's point when we were talking about Kobe was the person being a parent, you know, him being a dad, him having, you know, not only losing his daughter at the same time, but also just the fact that his children that he left behind have lost a father, and you feel that as a parent, and you don't want that to happen, you know. Especially when you're younger, you know, and you know that you have so much time that you can, you know, be an impact on your kids, or still have to be raising your kids, and something like that happens. So seeing that happen to someone else in a similar situation, it's hard. It makes you, you know, reflect, think, and more in that situation even more. I talked about the invincibility aspect of it, you know, and that's something that I know that I felt with friends that have passed that were my age, or you know, people that are younger. But with you know, celebrities is even more, when it's like, you know, you always think that person's always going to be there, or that their impact is always going to be there, and then you see that cut short. Same thing that happened with Biggie and Tupac. Same thing that happened with Kobe. Same thing that's happened with a lot of different, you know, celebrities. But also you see that in you know, at home. You know, I think we get hit hard by that because it's so unexpected. Even a person, I mean, like Michael Jackson, Prince, who, you know, even though they were quote unquote older, they still were at an age where they were still doing what they do, and bringing that joy, that entertainment to the world, and people connect with that kind of thing. They need that in their life, and they feel like it's been ripped away from them. You know what I'm saying? By death. And then, you know, one of the little known things is what they call a parasocial relationship, which is kind of basically like this false relationship that you have. A lot of times we remember these celebrities because of maybe they've done, and the way that they've impacted. But you start to, and I think Dave mentioned it, you start to relate to them to the point of almost feeling like you have this relationship of, like, you know, they're there for you, or they bring you up out of things, or they inspire you, you know. So that relationship that you have in your mind or in your emotions gets, you know, becomes one of the things that you mourn as well, because they become like a friend to you, or they become like this inspiration to you, this a mentor, or this I'm trying to think of another word for it, you know, basically this person that you look up to, you know.
The muse.
But nah, just like Smooth said, they are there for you. They like Smooth in the dark places. He said, "I'm a kid. I'm in here crying," and then Martin comes on doing some goofy shit that helped me. You know what I'm saying? That's an important joint. Given
And then
time that he sees Martin, it'll always take him back to that place. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And that's why I always, and that's why, even with, like, that's why we always root for certain people. You feel me? So it's like I'm always like, Martin got to do some foul shit for me not to root for Martin. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got to do some foul shit. Outside of that, I'm always gonna be a fan and root for it. I'm watching every movie. You feel me? Black Knight. I love Black Knight. I don't care what nobody say. You feel me? You feel me? Blue Streak. You feel me?
Blue Streak. Man, I love Blue Streak. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I love, you feel me?
Chill, Blue Streak was alright. Chill. Don't disrespect my man.
I also want to talk about circumstances, though. See, like Kobe, we talk about Whitney Houston, Aaliyah, Left Eye, like they died tragically.
Aaliyah,
you feel me?
I still can't listen to no Aaliyah joints.
So sometimes I think, like, people got a lot, like, we take them hit a little harder.
Yeah.
Them hit a little harder, to where when you think of somebody like Aretha Franklin, when she passed, you feel me? Yeah, it hurt, but it was more so of a celebration.
Yeah.
You know, because she lived her life to the point to where Earthquake could do his comedy special and joke about let her go. You feel me? The funeral lasted. You feel me? Like 2 weeks he was talking about. So I mean, so I think and like you said, it's about impact, but I also think circumstances around the death matters. You feel me? So when it's tragic, I think like you mentioned, it hit people a little bit harder.
Yeah, indeed.
It
Indeed.
D.L. Hughley actually said something that made me think about the celebrity deaths, like Queen of England, and you see, like even Kobe, the jokes, just because they did some stuff that was not, not right or just foul in their lifetime. People celebrating their deaths in a negative way instead of just being respectful. That's where I draw the line at because they ran
There
their
was a
race.
lot of that.
And you gotta remember that these people, even though they might have died and they might have done some foul stuff, they still got loved ones that have to live here and listen to that. Have a little bit more sympathy and respect for the living, the people that they love and love them, instead of going to that dark spot and just being like just totally negative and just disrespectful to them. They ran a race, no matter how
I'm glad
foul
you
it might
said
have
that.
been. No matter how
The
foul it
time when
been,
somebody dies is not the time to bring up the negative shit that happened. This ain't the time to talk
like
about that.
like Aaliyah, like when Aaliyah died, that was my first time experiencing a celebrity death. That was that like man, because I actually like Aaliyah. That was my girl. Um, but then I saw stuff online saying like Ding Dong, the B is dead or whatever or gone. I'm like, really? Like people are like this in real life? Y'all serious?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. A lot of
I'll lose
people.
the internet.
A lot of people was mad. Well, not mad, but a lot of people was happy when Kobe died. You feel me?
Yeah, they're
A
like,
lot
oh,
of
they're
people.
racist. Yeah.
Yeah, like they celebrated his death, and just like they
Yeah.
did with Michael Jackson.
Yep.
You feel me? It's a plethora of celebrities that when they die, you feel me? Take. Let's not even go to that length. Let's talk about Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's they still it's still a faction of people out there that's celebrating his death and joke on his death, and to where it's still another faction of people like it hit them hard because he was speaking for them, like he was speaking for a certain group of people. You feel me? So like I agree with Dame though, and what Hype said. When somebody dies, like all debts are paid with death. You feel me? All debts is paid. You feel me? So
Yep.
whatever they did, they dead now. You feel me?
I'm still gonna celebrate Hitler dead, so I'm
hey, you listen. You already know. Any like child molesters and all them.
right,
You feel me?
exactly.
Like listen. When they say you shouldn't wish death, we don't have plenty of shows, and I say, oh, don't tell me don't wish death on me. Like it's some people that deserve to get the fuck up out of here. You feel me?
Go ahead and pay them debts. Go ahead and pay them debts.
Go ahead and pay them debt. Child molesters. Yeah, I ain't with them.
Exactly.
I think that's one thing everybody can agree on. You touch the kid, then yeah, we ain't got no room for you.
No doubt.
You feel
No
me?
That's
doubt.
just the bottom line.
No doubt. Yeah. Well, great show, fellas. Appreciate y'all for coming in here and giving these folks, all the information they needed and the insight and great points on these topics. We'll definitely be back in here next week for another great show. In the meantime, gonna let the folks know where they can find us. Go ahead and start with Smooth.
Y'all already know it's your boy Smooth. You catch me on Twitter at eTrentonGroomy. On IG, Mr.Wilson11_11. Check out my blog, of course, thekingstruth.com.
Those DMs are wide open, ladies.
Do not do it to yourself. Shout out to I mentioned her earlier. Shout out to Samoa. She came through to put on for the city. It's been a lot of celebrities that came from the city don't come back. She did. She always come back. She's for the people, with the people. So salute to her. It was a dope show.
No doubt. Hype.
How to Hustle Live Show, March the 12th. Get your tickets now. Hit the QR code, you know what I'm saying? Hit the link in my bio. We can get the physicals if you slide up on me, or you can just, you know what I'm saying, get those off the Eventbrite. Episode 97 is the episode that will be debuting tomorrow on the GFT Radio Network. Shout out to my man Nah on that episode. Should you listen to your head? Is it better to listen to your head or your heart? Find out my answer tomorrow, 2 o'clock, GFT Radio Network.
No doubt, no doubt. Dame? Did we lose Dame? Might have lost Dame. But make sure y'all check out Dame over at Another Level Up on IG, Shenlo21 on Twitch, Checkmate21 on TikTok, and Shenlo21 on Xbox.
I have
And it's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Get at me everywhere at Willie Styles on IG and Twitter. I'm Willie.Styles on Snapchat and TikTok. You can find me over at gamingwithstyles.com, stylesradio.com, or williestyles.info for all my links. All right, it's been a great show.
Next movie review? What's our next movie review?
It will not be You People. I don't want to talk about that movie. We can talk about anything else other than that shit.
Yeah, that shit was corny.
Super corny. Super corny. Everybody on the internet. No,
yeah,
it was not all that. No, it was not all that.
Exactly. But I do want to do a movie review though.
Okay, for sure. Just let me know. We'll get back on here and do that for sure. All right. Until next time, folks, we will catch y'all.
Yo, it's your boy Dame here.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D.
Yo, it's your boy Smooth from the GFT Radio Network.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building.
Join us Mondays at 10 p.m. live on Twitch, YouTube, and our Facebook. And if you miss us, don't worry. You can catch it on our website, gftradioshow.com. And if you feel like talking to us every day, join our Facebook group.
At Join the Conversation, the group where you can discuss all kinds of topics.
Catch me also, Fans Respected, Dope Sports Show. Holla at your boy.
You can cop some merchandise over at our store, teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, masks, and even more.
Next time on GFT Radio, what are we talking about? Join the conversation to find out.
Make sure you get at us on GFTRadioshow.com for all of our audio and video playbacks, as well as links